Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've seen a lot of different upgrades and features teased for MW2, and one that has sort of gone under the radar in some aspects is the amount of movement changes that we're going to see in this game. Obviously, movement has become sort of a main meta in Call of Duty over the past couple of years between MW and then also Warzone, of course, and they're changing a lot. They're adding a lot and then also adapting how certain things work in MW2 and Warzone 2. So today we're breaking down the movement updates and what to expect here as we go through it all. If you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. Really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every single day I am covering the latest news, updates, loadouts, tips, and everything else going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. Let's talk movement, because over the past few years, especially with Warzone, we've seen movement in COD evolve a ton. A lot of the time it was just drop shotting or jump shotting in an engagement, sprinting around the map, sliding around corners. But now we've got bunny hops, we've got instant drop shots, we've got different movement mechanics like slide canceling and whatnot. People why to get movement here and there. It's gone to the extreme when it comes to niche movement metas. And in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, there are some pretty drastic updates and upgrades and changes coming to just general movement in the game. Now, of course, we're gonna have the basic stuff. We're gonna have regular sprinting. We're gonna have walking, crouching, proning / crawling, all available. None of that's gonna go anywhere, right? That's core movement mechanics. We also are going to have the return of mounting. We saw this in some of the gameplay that you guys have been seeing throughout the video thus far in the initial campaign gameplay reveal, where you can actually mount on top of an object. You can mount on the side of an object, left or right, and peek around a corner that way. What we didn't get to see was any potential mounting with movement. That just could have been excluded from this gameplay and it wasn't taken advantage of, or it could be excluded from the game entirely. We just don't know for certain on that yet, but that'll be back as well to help negate some recoil and just, make your shots more accurate when needed. So the basics are still going to be there. There's a few question marks though when it comes to movement that we've yet to see. For instance, tac sprint. Obviously, this was a very big deal during Modern Warfare and Warzone, and most recently Vanguard as well, where you can sprint even faster than just your normal sprinting speed by giving up some time to actually fire, your sprint to fire, if you will, with your weapons, because obviously you're holding that up in one hand rather than just normally sprinting. Now, there's been some pros and some cons to tac sprinting, and as of right now, we don't know if it's going to be in MW2 and Warzone 2. While it has obviously created a very complex movement meta in the way of b-hopping and, slide canceling and everything there that really good players can take good advantage of, it also destroys controllers and thumbsticks and shift keys and everything like that. So like I said, pros and cons. And directly, in my opinion, directly tethered to that and tied to that is slide canceling. Another thing that we don't know for certain if it's going to be in MW2 and Warzone 2. Slide canceling gives you the ability to reset your tac sprint time and time again, and in turn move around any given area, the Warzone map or a multiplayer map, way faster than if you were just resetting your tac sprint normally or sliding around the map as is. It's become a incredibly popular mechanic in Warzone, obviously, and it has been a main factor in gameplay for the better part of Warzone's existence, right? Both of those being question marks, though, is very interesting when you consider what's been said specifically about how broken slide canceling is in the past from the devs, i.e. Raven, who are still going to have a large part in Warzone in the future, Warzone 2.0. Previously in dev meetings, they've said that if the majority of the community wanted to see slide canceling changed, it'd be something they would look into. It's been said they've looked for a reason to remove slide canceling and fix slide canceling before because they're not a fan of the accessibility skill gap it presents, where certain players just physically cannot slide cancel, and it's hard for disabled players like that to take advantage of something that's so popular in the game. So they've sort of advocated for changing slide canceling before, and with a refresh, it wouldn't be all that surprising to me based off of those comments if it was not a thing, tethered with tac sprint, which also is, a core part of slide canceling and that reset there as well. Now, I think there's a way to just make it so that slide canceling doesn't reset tac sprint as often, but you can still utilize that movement and that you know, smoothness of sprinting to sliding as a general movement mechanic, just to have smooth gameplay in general, I guess is a way to put it. So as far as we know, basic movement still going to be there, mounting still going to be there, but things like tack sprint and slide canceling are still question marks as of now. What are not question marks are 3 huge pieces of movement mechanics that are being updated with Warzone 2 and MW2. The first of which is a diving mechanic in the form of something similar to dolphin diving. We haven't seen this in quite some time, especially in an Infinity Ward game, but it is coming back with Modern Warfare 2 and in turn Warzone 2 as well. This is going to allow you to dive out of gunfire, get into some cover. You can even dive into gunfire and just be a demon if you want to and sort of surprise the enemies. Diving into, you know, buildings, out of buildings, if you want to make it seem like it's an action movie of some kind. That mechanic is going to be very substantial in terms of changing gameplay and general movement, especially when you have both diving and sliding, which is not always something that we've seen. So that's going to present a whole new way of moving around the map and maneuvering in gunfights as well, I should say. Another huge mechanic that we have not seen in quite some time, swimming. This will be a major focal point in MW2 and also Warzone 2, multiplayer, campaign, Spec Ops, you name it. It's going to have an impact on all the gameplay there. And this is going to change gunfights in a lot of ways. Velocity works differently underwater versus out of water. Into the water if you're shooting on land, into the water. If you're in the water shooting back onto land. All that ends up changing. If you're fighting underwater, you're limited to certain things like pistols and melee weapons. And as far as, you know, getting a flank on somebody, being able to swim, but you have to take into consideration how long you can hold your breath, if the waves will give off your position. Stuff like that is really going to change how you might approach any given gunfight. And obviously, in certain situations when you have to rotate through a zone, you might not be able to slide cancel around some trees and some bushes and get into cover. That way, you might be forced to swim upriver into a not so protected area that leaves you very exposed, and that's going to be a very interesting gunfight. You know, that severely changes how gameplay is going to work. And then one that I'm particularly interested in, simply because it should sort of combat auto mantling when you don't want to auto mantle, is the ability to ledge climb and ledge hang. As it stands right now, if you're trying to jump over a wall or a barrel or a fence, whatever it may be, you're just going to auto mantle over that. And in gunfights right now, it's super annoying because if you're trying to jump shot or B-hop, sometimes you'll end up auto mantling in the middle of a gunfight that takes away your ADS and your accuracy, and you get guns because of that. I can't count how many times it's happened to me in Warzone. It's super frustrating. But with the ability to ledge hang and ledge mount and whatnot, you'd be able to jump up onto a wall, hold on to said wall, peek over it if you wanted to with a weapon. You could use that wall to then jump and sort of parkour over to a different ledge if you wanted to. You could jump back down if you wanted to. That is also going to engage how stealthy you can be in any given engagement and be very tactical about things. You know, say you're in final zone in Warzone and you're on one side of a wall, the enemies are on the other side. Rather than having to mount over that and just expose yourself right away and hope you got the gunny and you win the fight, you could actually hang off of that ledge, peek over with your gun, and engage that way. Obviously, it'd probably hurt your accuracy some with a pistol, but it would be a new way to approach engagements. So between diving and swimming and ledge hanging, we have much more advanced movement options that good players are going to be able to navigate and take advantage of in ways that we have not seen before, which I think is going to be very exciting. On the other hand, though, I am concerned that we're going to be limited with basic movement if there is no tack sprinting, if there is no slide canceling or motion of that even, that we are obviously very comfortable with now in Warzone. I do think a switch up is good in certain areas, but I'm curious to see if it's going to affect the flow of the game, slow things down, or make gunfights a little bit more awkward. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see until we get our hands on the game and see what it feels like, but the movement is changing a lot in MW2 and Warzone 2. And that said, that's going to wrap things up for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. It really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here or if you have not subscribed yet, every single day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button. That way you can always guarantee you are up to date. And as always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, Gamer Advantage, and Control Freak products. And the links for all those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.